Should be live. What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and thank you for tuning in for a live stream. Whew. What a day, right? I see the chats over here talking about AMC and everything. Normally, I like to have two buttons done on the old Polo, but it got hot and spicy in the market today, and I had to show some chest hair, if you know what I mean. Let some air out in this very hot market. It did get spicy there for a little bit on a couple of those names. I want to thank everyone for coming out and see Alan, David, Makeshift. Who else did I see there? D Nice, Send It, Samuel. Thank you guys and ladies. Alan, what's up, my friend? Kelly, how you doing? Free paper cuts, what's up? Alan, you're an AMC at $2.90. That's awesome. Is AMC gonna rocket tomorrow? I have no idea. It's too much. Alpaca, what's up, my friend? AMC can do whatever it wants. It's gonna be probably a pretty insane ride, to say the least. Like, what is GameStop came off a little bit. It's, again, what does came off mean a little bit? But yeah. Chris, what's up, my friends? AMC got up to what, like 20 bucks? Let's look at the chart here. It hit about 20 bucks. Again, this is, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just tuning in, there is no real rhyme or reason behind on how much this has gone up. This is just pure short squeeze mentality of bears getting extremely scared, and then, of course, just being pinched to such extremes. Because, again, if you're looking here, let's look at this chart here real fast. On the volume, normally the normal average day, okay, before this all, I can't even look at the normal day because it's just so small. Well, for example, today traded 1.2 billion shares. 1.2 billion shares, okay? On average, the last couple days, it traded 0.12, so it traded a little bit 0.12 billion, okay? So literally it has gone up substantially from that period. Of course, with a large influx of volume, what do you see? A huge price movement to the upward. Again, the amount of happy bulls came into this market here is absolutely astronomical with AMC. Like, it's absolutely, I've never seen these amount of short squeezes in my life, to be quite honest. Well, I've only been trading for about over 10 years, but this is something that is really something I haven't, I've seen like pharmaceutical stocks go complete gangbusters, but I never saw a whole group of cohort of stuff really go off the rails here on such a large amount of basis of just having just these multiple of short squeezes blowing up after. It's literally a pretty insane movement. So some people are saying they're holding NOK calls. IPOE, yeah, we can look at that one. That's Chamath Papateals. Definitely. Kev T, what's up, my friend? Thank you for stopping by. Thank you as well again. Chamath on CNBC as IPOE has a small pop. The NOK, I was trying to do some work on this one, on trying to look at some levels. I saw numbers, Paul, if you're listening, Ariel, 13 I could maybe justify at a Fibonacci number, even 20. if it does move up there for an okay. But again, same like we just saw with AMC, that staying power really needs to come in and stay. It just can't be like a short blimp of the thing. So again, we're talking about billions on this one. This one got up to the same amount, about 1 point, what is this? Almost 1.15 billion shares traded. So that's kind of in the same kind of pattern again, this thing hasn't. This was kind of trading what GameStop or even AMC was trading, because again, AMC's movement and just how fast it took off. Again, it took 3 days to get these really small gap ups going here, but then once that momentum, that snowball just continued down the hill, it just exploded. And it just blew off here, just ripping through $5. And just again, I've lost track on how many times these stocks have been halted, and just the complete utter chaos behind it. Yeah, it looks like a lot of people are talking about AMC and stuff like that. Samuel, Ken, how about the move on SPY? Yeah, Samuel, great call out there. So if we look here on the SPY chart, this is a little bit was concerning. Like, look at this. This movement came down. So we have some Fibonacci movement from the previous high here. So basically, this was the beginning of February of last year, and the pullback to around the overall low that we saw. Of course, due to the virus and the overall scare that everyone's going to be turning into zombies, and we're going to have to be running around with our underwear on, or whatever. Running out of toilet paper. I don't know what about underwear. With this movement here, like look at why is this not zooming in right? There we go. Look at the SPY, how it came in. It bounced off nearly to the dollar here. Let me see what it did. So correct bar, the low of the day was 372.01. The price was 371.70. So I'm not exact science kind of guy, but that is definitely a pretty strong rebound here. I was a little bit fearful on how fast it was bleeding during the FOMC, Jay Powell kind of conference thing or a Zoom call, with that really steep movement down. And just how aggressive it was. Because again, if you look here on an hourly chart, like it kind of really steeped lower around that 2 o'clock time frame, when that 2 o'clock Eastern. But again, the SPY had issues, again, looking at the hourly chart, multiple times trying to get above the 8 EMA on the hourly chart. And now during after hours, just kind of bouncing off. So kind of a good note here. We'd like to see that stay above 371 in the short term to really kind of see that kind of come through. If we get a nice, not a follow through day, but a nice little rebound coming in tomorrow would be a nice little surprise, right? A nice little gift for us little bulls out here just trying to make it in the market. So that's with the spine. The same thing comes down with the Qs. So look at the noodles here. This thing came down exactly to that. Yeah, this was insane. Again, this came down very aggressive as well. Looking here at this level here on the hourly chart to kind of look at this again, this was never able to get above the 8 EMA on the hourly chart here. But this is something that was extremely pulling back. So on the hourly chart, once that 8 crosses over the 34, if you're looking on the hourly chart, or if you're looking on the daily chart, you're looking at the weekly chart, that's kind of how my kind of like cross, or like people call it the death cross, or the holy grail cross, or whatever they call it, when like the 50 crosses the 200 or whatever the SMAs are. I look at the 8 and 34 with more or less on the convenience of swing trading on the daily chart. With the 34 cutting, or the 8 cutting through the 34 in pre-market around the 6 a.m. time frame, which we're getting a little worry signs, getting a little jiggly on our feet here, kind of backpedaling here a little bit, but we were never able to really come up for air. Just imagine it's a huge, you're on one of those canoes or those little water boats going down the Colorado River. You're with Lewis and Clark, and you're trying to paddle this little wooden boat with your little paddle, but there's just white caps and these white waves just constantly, and you're trying to battle the whole time. That 8 EMA was basically the current that you were not able to beat, and it was manhandling you in a better sense, not allowing you to kind of get out of that momentum, and just continue failing at that level. And I was David and Ariel that I was talking to at the time, I was worried because we were not able to get through that in the short term. And if that broke below the 315, we could have seen some potential downside. Again, it's not over yet, but we'll see how tomorrow and the rest of the week closes. But again, be very mindful that we have 2 days left of the month of January on the potential. Could be some more selling coming into the end of the month. You normally, some of the funds do kind of liquidate again. Where did I put that book at? Oh, here it is. So I just picked up this book. Yeah, you can make fun of me or whatever about it, but I picked up the Stock Trader's Almanac on Amazon, and I actually really enjoy it. And it kind of gives a little understanding of how potential, like statistically, of like speaking. I'm going to do some more videos on the statistics behind the bulls and bear markets, and how price targets and how seasonal trends can kind of ramp things up or down. So if you're interested in that, we'll definitely can check that out as well. Alan, thanks for the $5. The cat out of the bag when it comes to shorts. People now are going to be looking to snipe. I think it's going to start to see a big influx of this. What do you mean? Like, you're going to see a lot more people just trying to short squeeze stocks? I can definitely see that. I can 100% see that, on the sense of people scanning for, again, it's not too difficult to find out what the short list is. You just literally go to Google and you type in a high short interest, and guess what pops up? The stock site highshortsinterest.com, and it really just breaks down to what's all of the stock and their different exchanges, what the short float is, the outstanding shares, and then the short interest. Again, I still don't understand. It's a little bit how can this number be over 100? And the best example that I read and heard was that they're backlogged. It's kind of like if you remember back. It seems like so long ago, but remember when oil literally they were giving it away theoretically. They were giving it away theoretically in the sense of the futures options or the futures contracts, where there wasn't enough buyers for the oil that was on demand. So it was basically a supply and demand issue. That's basically what we're kind of seeing here. The demand is extremely high right now to get calls or to get stock. Like, it's impossible to short. I've heard multiple traders that are 10 times more advanced, 100 times more advanced than me. They're like, we're not able to locate literally not puts, but literally short the stock itself. It's just nearly impossible to try to get those covers, because all the stock is literally just being bought up. And I think there's just a supply and demand issue. That's what's making this number raise up well above the $100 limit. But that's just somewhat my guesstimation on the sense behind that and how I understand the economics of that. Again, I've only taken economics 101 in college, and the rest of it is just from reading and understanding the markets. But again, we're talking about Space had a huge move, AMC, BBY, Fizz, FBO, all these stocks fall in line with those levels here. So this is something that really could just really trigger anything. Again, this is open knowledge of just someone just barked up the wrong tree and ticked some people off, and now they're really profiting from it. Samuel, yes, Stock Trader's Almanac. It was called, who is it by? Does it say who it was by? It doesn't say who it's by. by Jeffrey Hirsch. Yeah, it's on Amazon. It's on Amazon. And but I don't want to. Here, I'll show you real fast. So this is interesting. Where was the chart at? Where would they go? Hold on. I'm sorry. It's just a nice little thing to read up in the morning. Again, being such a nerd about stocks and charts like this. Where the hell was that? Hold on. I'm sorry, guys. Here it is. So I wonder if you can see this right here. So this is basically the Dow Jones Industrial on a 1-year seasonal pattern of the chart since 1901. And the red line is going to be the post election year. Of course, this is what we're in, and then all other years. You can kind of really see that on the charts there, and it really breaks it down on each different various components. So you have the Dow Jones pattern from 1901 to current day, and then you have like 1901 to 1949, and then you have 1950 to the 19 sorry, to 2020, or sorry, to not even 2020, sorry, it's like 1918, sorry, because this book they had to finish and publish it by the late stages of 2020. But you see this on being somewhat from literally from the 1950s to current day. We have like a huge run up into February. If you can kind of see that, that's the red line on here. We have a huge run up into February, and then we just kind of trade sideways for a little bit. And then it's basically their thesis behind that is saying that once the new administration comes in, it takes everyone kind of gets excited about it, that we kind of get a run up in it, but then now we kind of pull back a little bit in the sense of once we start seeing things kind of follow through and some of the initiatives that the political heads are talking about actually come into fruition. Okay, so I just kind of wanted to talk about some of that stuff. Let's go look at some tickers, boys and girls. Let's see here. I saw some BB IPOF. I wanted to talk about IPOE. Someone asked about IPOE. I'm sorry, I'm kind of falling behind here. Sorry. IPOE, of course, this is the SoFi. This is the one that Chamath Palihapitiya is taking here public. Again, we hit that 2462, but guess what? We're coming right down to that 21 EMA. So if we stay above that 17, let's see what the number pops out here. Basically like let's see here, let me go zoom in just a little bit. Yeah, around the 1792, above 18. In the short term, it's just fine. But we do have some pretty strong support around 1692, even down to 1623. And then IPOF I don't think they've announced anything on this one yet, have they? This one again, these have just run up because of Chamath and everyone just getting it's just getting all excited about all of the SPAC stuff, and it's kind of coming off here a little bit. Again, a little bit of a sharp move. There's not much that we can talk about because again, this just came public in December, and it had a fairly nice run up. It is breaking below 21 EMA. Even though the 50 SMA is not really even on the chart yet, this is going to be very hard to look at. We do have, again, just looking at the notions here. So if we do the swing high to swing low, just doing the most basic Fibonacci here sequence, we're going to be looking for some initial support around 13 or around 1243 there, my friend. You can store oil in your swimming pool. Yeah, you could, right? I don't have one in a swimming pool yet, but one day. BB, yeah, of course, BlackBerry. Whew, what a move there, right? Really just, again, hitting very excessive levels. Can it still run? Sure, why not? It does have some fib numbers around 37. We talked about this one on Sunday. We talked about if that momentum can continue. So what these squeezes and everything really comes down to is momentum. GME, let's just not even talk about that one. That's just in a whole different dimension, different universe. With this one, especially with BB, we are seeing somewhat of some sideways action, really showing support on that 5 EMA. And that's the white line here on the daily chart. And just seeing that continuously grind higher here. We do have some initial numbers around 24. Looking here on the hourly chart here as well, we talked about that 34 EMA on the hourly chart, especially for the very momentum-driven stocks, especially on the hourly chart. That 34 EMA has been a very strong tell on how the moves have happening. With that being said, looks like in some after-hour trading, we got some little bit of a mixed bag here, so we'll see on how that categorizes and how that moves forward into tomorrow, Thursday. D-Nice just found Ken last week, but I'm now joined and subscribed. I appreciate that, D-Nice. Let's see. Okay, sorry. Let's see here. Chamath bought 100 GME calls and then sold them today. Yeah, he sold them this morning, he said, and he's giving it away for charity, right? I saw, yeah, we can talk about Tesla. Let's look at Tesla. Of course, they kind of came off here a little bit. By a little bit, they came off like 30 bucks, 40 bucks. We talked about this a little bit, that $900 target here has kind of been a strong overhang. Statistically speaking, Tesla never does like what people think on earnings. Their last four earnings has not really created a substantial move here. So I was a little concerned that people were thinking it's going to go flying to the moon. Again, anything can happen, but just looking at just the current history, it normally doesn't move unless it has like one of their again, fantastic news. They revealed the Model S, but I think a lot of people are just a little bit hesitant on the sense of just trying to get the movement in the Cybertruck. And again, they've done fantastic things, like and just in the last year of being somewhat restricted. It was very unclear on the sense of their plant in Austin when it's up and running. With that being said here, looking for some price predictions moving out for this chart here on the hourly chart. We do have some support. Again, it's all the way down at 722. That seems really extreme. I know that. But we do have some short-term support around that 820. We can see that consolidation here. We can see that consolidation here, a little bit here, and coming down here. So the overall expected move for Tesla this week was $84. So we do have a little bit more wiggle room to look at here to see if the chart can continue to move here. That doesn't mean it has to follow what the market makers are projecting. But if we do see some selling coming in tomorrow for whatever reason, we can look at the chart here and look at some potential targets. Really, again, looking into that 830 level would be pretty strong here on the daily chart, but then really looking for 800 to be some pretty strong support on the daily chart, because that is where the 21 lies. Again, within a Tesla has not touched the 21 EMA since basically the middles of November. So be very well aware of that. This thing has been a very strong run. It's somewhat in the cards, as they say, for somewhat of a pullback, especially to some level of support. So that 21 is going to be the first level of support around 800, and then we potentially could even see it around 750 if the substantial more pulling back comes as well. So hopefully that was some insights. Of course, it can make a cool about face and just continue to rip higher. So the really largest level of resistance to the upside is $900 exactly. I'm sorry, chat is moving so fast today, and I think I'm spending too much time on each stock. Let's see here. I'm missing some folks. David says, quick rant. With Discord and Reddit, their continued censorship groups of people are going against the inside establishment. People are feeling the effects Marley and big tech deflates has. So are you for free? I don't, you're like, okay, I'm kind of confused there. Maybe I misread that. You're probably not for censoring folks, right? If I understood that right. Okay, sorry. I don't like to gamble, but I bought $30 worth of GMC shares today for a laugh, and my app crashed, but eventually it sold for 87 cents profit. Woo, Paul. Yeah, I don't like to gamble either. Like, trust me. But I do make mistakes sometimes. I saw someone, who is it? George is asking for CCIV. This is the Tesla, right? The Tesla luxury competitor here. Came off pretty steeply today. Only dropped about 13 to 14%. That's pretty not a fun day here to be an owner of that. But we've seen that really just, skyrocket high in the last like 2 weeks. So really aggressive movement here we're seeing here. The momentum really is still to the upside here, still holding that 5 and 8 moving averages here, especially looking for around 2050 to potentially show some support there. Looks in after hours trading around 21 bucks. So in the short term, we're looking for some support around 2050, even back down to $20. That's where the parabolic SAR dots are. If we do get a switch there, we could see it hello to around the 21 EMA there. So be very mindful of that. Of course, we can, the overall overhead targets is trying to break above 27 if you want to make money to the long side. BNGO I saw. So BNGO, yeah, this one, I was afraid of this one once you start seeing all those people talk about all these other like short squeeze plays. I think a lot of people who were potentially in BNGO took some of their cash out and bought into BlackBerry, bought into Nokia, bought into AMC, bought into GME, all those things. But this thing is still looking very strong here. We did get a little bit of a pullback, about 10% today. I know it seems like nothing, but it really is something. But in the short term, again, following that 5 and 8 moving averages, we're still looking for that support around $9.91. If it can pull back to around that $8.68 to $9 there as well. But that overhead pressure is still around $13.89. The coolest dad ever. What's up, my friend? Long time no see. Hey, Ken, I know you hate penny stocks, but look at AITX. Look for upside. AITX. Yeah, I definitely don't like that. But on the hourly chart, it looks like it has, again, I love using the hourly chart if you're doing like intraday kind of trades or short-term trades. And that 34 EMA shows some support around 13 cents, sort of 13.1309. If that can hold, we can see it potentially try to rebound, build a base here, and move back higher. And the only reason I did that for you, coolest dad ever, is because you are the coolest dad ever. And I'm up there with second. Okay, sorry guys, I'm going a little slow today. And moving a little bit slow. Let's see here. All right, sorry. My eyes are like playing tricks on me today. Biden invited Lordstown after hour. Can you look at it for tomorrow? Lordstown, that's Ride, right? Yeah, Ride, of course, we're pretty familiar with Ride, Workhorse. What's the other one? What's the other one I'm thinking about? Holy moly. Yeah, Ride and Workhorse are the ones, Helion, whatever it's called. With Ride here, we have seen multiple issues again from that previous swing high to low here in the Fibonacci tree, around 2780 basically. We have not been able to really break above that. We've seen that even with the momentum that we had way back when, aka around Thanksgiving, it has pulled back significantly from that level. With that being said, it's kind of just been bouncing around here. It's trying to consolidate, had a couple moves higher, maybe trying to base build here. But I kind of see this kind of, some people call it a cup and handle here, trying to see it curl over and then pop back up to 27. If we can stay above the 24.64 and maybe try to even test back up to 27.80, if we get that momentum, we finally get that follow through, I think with, of course, the Biden administration really pushing the EV market and all the other various components of that, we could potentially even see it up to $31 again. So, yeah. The coolest dad ever. Thank you for the $5. Glad to see you back and around, my friend. Thoughts on NAKD? And then Zulu says, I think that NAKD is a true pump and dump. Some people on WSB Discord didn't even know what a company sells and buys. Let's just take a look at it. Sometimes if the chart's good, it's good in the hood. Okay, it's not really that good. Yeah, that is insane. That is literally, I think you're pretty much right there on the sense of the pump and dump here, because that is a huge amount of volume coming in out of, again, looking here on the last movements here, we've seen a couple pumps up here, but look at this volume here. I'm afraid if we see kind of an inside day, meaning that if the volume comes down to half of this, that we could see some potential consolidation here. But this is really off to the races. And really, again, something, if it wants to continue, the next really level is going to be try to get up to around the $2.17 again. I have no idea what they do, no fundamental knowledge of this, but on the chart, if it broke through the 144 EMA, the next really level is kind of trying to coming into the 200 EMA to the downside there. Josh, wow, thank you, my friend. $5 again. Pfizer, please put my life on it. Well, I hope you didn't put your life on it completely. The Pfizer's FPE, yeah, okay. It's a difficult one to see this one. This is a pretty large pullback. We've seen this level here potentially try to hold before around 36. It does have earnings coming up. So Josh, be very well aware of that depending on if you want to take that risk going to earnings. So it has earnings on the 2nd of February. So the options market for that week is projecting maybe a $2.80 to nearly a $3 move for the week. So if we're currently looking at right now, so that's potentially can be looking to the lower side to around $3 or sort of $33 basically. That's going to be breaking past the initial support that we had around 34.50-ish to the downside there, but potentially looking for this to try to recover here, because again, we did have, was dividends today or tomorrow. I can't never see that on here. Dividends tomorrow, so be well aware of that depending on if your options are in the money expiring for this week. But we do, again, look at this 144 EMA here, and just really holding this pattern here around that 36. It really did come in very close to this. Look at that. It barely closed right above it at that level there. So that's pretty intense. That's a pretty good sign there. Even with a pullback like this, it's a little bit hard to tell if that does hold, but that is a very short-term hold, then looking for around that 36 level to hold. If we cannot break above 37, that's going to be a very key issue, because we've seen it kind of break out just in the short term, but then comes right back down, breaks out and try to comes back down. So be well aware of that, Josh. So hopefully that was helpful for you. To the upside, again, it isn't a squeeze. That's a good point. But the RSI, it's kind of hard to tell on the short term here, because again, it has come down because it had such of a pretty large pullback there. This week in Civil War history. Okay, that's awesome. TD restricted things about happening to free market short sellers, but get hurt when they cry wolf. Yeah, I don't use TD to trade. I still use Tastyworks. Affiliate link down below if you want to open up an account of $2,000 or more. You have a chance. You have to choose between 10 call options or 100 free shares. But with TD, I think they restricted AMC and GME, right? And they say they put those provisions into to help the basic investor, and I understand that. I can understand both sides of the coin. Honestly, I'm so much in the middle of the path. I have empathetic to most sides, honestly, and I just really just want to understand that. I'm just trying to get everyone's point across here. But yeah, I can see on how they're like, well, it kind of helps the investor if we do this. But does it really help the investor when you put on a restriction for pattern day trading of $25,000? Like they just made money, they want to get out of it, they want to take that cash, but they can't because they traded 3 days. Like it's this, the rules definitely need to be rewritten in that sense. And this week in Civil War, do you really do stuff every week? That'd be awesome. I'll have to check out your channel. I saw. Okay, let's see. Someone's asking for Apple. He's looking for some Apple price predictions as well. Apple, the largest company in the world, had some pretty strong numbers, but it had too much of a run, I think, into earnings. If it would have stayed at like 130, we would have seen the move to like 140 to 141, where it's currently kind of where it was somewhat at. Though it is in after hours trading, that's basically kind of still the wild west. But looking here on the hourly chart, that 138 range is a pretty strong support to the downside. If that doesn't hold, we need to look at some further levels, really looking at the 130 range, which is a pretty large skew over the past couple days. Oh, wrong chart. The past couple days here. So the 130 range is, again, where does that come into? That comes in right around that. Oh, I need to zoom here a little bit. Right around the 34 EMA and the parabolic SAR dot. So if we do get a further pullback, breaking below 133, that basically between the 21 to 34 EMA is what we're looking at for that support level to hold. And of course, the targets, if this trend wants to continue and stay basically above that 130 range, even down to 127 intraday, we could see that trend continue going higher to try to break and stay above 140 there. Alan, Josh, how about a pinky toe? Why do we always have to go for the whole life? I'll be pretty pissed to lose a pinky toe. That's awesome. Alan, thanks for the $5, my friend. Let's see here. Let's see. What did I see? WSB grew 1 million followers today. Really? Wow. Ken, what penny stock do you think will blow up soon? Alan 1440, I don't know. I don't follow the penny stocks that aggressively in that sense. Again, I have been keeping a keen eye on that short list that we talked about, all those squeezes, but yeah, anything can happen. Vang says BLNK. Let's look at that one. We can look at Facebook next. With that, again, blink charging. Look at this move. Like, this is just insane, right? A little bit of pullback coming in today as well, but we hit an all-time high at 64.50, but pulling back down. And after hours, tradings were down a little bit lower, a little bit of a wide spread. As long as it stays above 46, the 21 EMA, this thing is still a continuously upward moving chart, trying to test that $66 level there for Blink. Andy, yes, we can look at FB, of course. They made the after hours trading for this one was pretty insane here. Of course, I don't follow Facebook as close. This thing traded. Look at this candle here. This thing has traded all the way down to 252. Again, that was a key level of support as well that we've seen kind of come here, kind of where it was kind of somewhat bottom fishing. That's where we saw that initial support there. This probably literally was someone fat fingered something and did like a market order, and then it just executed at the lowest available price that really felt that could fill their volume. With that being said, that idiot aside, very much somewhat of a downward trending stock. This is again, we see that on the hourly chart, you have the 8 EMA crossing through the 34, and it's like kind of trending lower here. On the daily chart, where can we looking for some protection or some potential support? Really, it's going to be coming into the 144, would be around 260. If there's more discontinuous selling here around that 260 level, we can easily see it come back down, maybe test that 252 level, which we saw extremely low. And if it just wants to make a complete about face, that next level of overhead resistance is going to be around 285 there. This week in Civil War saying, oh my God, you mentioned PTD. Why can't the average American trade more than 3 times? I can lose millions in Vegas and Wall Street doesn't care. Exactly. The rules don't make sense, right? Well, it goes back to also the problem that I have with as well is, of course, the PTD rule and who is an accredited investor and who is, if you're not familiar, accredited investor. So let's say I found this fantastic company. It's called Tesla. They're just starting out and they're asking for $50,000, $20,000, $10,000, whatever the number is. I cannot physically be a credited investor on the venture firm or give them money in that sense because I don't have enough capital in the sense of accredited investors' credentials doesn't fall into education, doesn't fall into anything. It just matters how much money you have. If you have $250,000, I think if you make annually, if 250 if you're single, $350,000 if you're married, or you have assets or cash available of $1 million or more, you're basically considered a accredited investor and you can do whatever you want. But the average Joe like you, I, and things like that who work normal jobs and then use the market to try to gain some overall edge, we have a very slim chance of just trying to get to that goal on becoming a accredited investor to be able to invest in the next Twitter or next Facebook, or I don't know why I'm just mentioning crappy companies, but basically the next Amazon or the next Tesla in that sense. So I think that's why so many people got super, super excited about SPACs and the SPACs, again, really just kind of like buying into a venture firm or venture company because it's really, really early stage. Kev is asking for LMND for sure, my friend. Whew, lemonade. Lemonade would be tasting really good right now. This is definitely something to look for again. Again, I think, Kev, you know by the time that we love that 21 EMA here on the daily chart. If it stays above that 21 EMA here on the daily chart, especially basically where it's kind of like a 143 right now, that trend is still trying to go higher. I'm not seeing any earnings on the horizon. It looks like they're saying maybe earnings on the end of February, but we are seeing, look at this very long candle here as well, to be mindful of that. Sometimes they call that a little bit of a capitulation in the sense of it could be somewhat of a down pull, because again, it didn't have the strength to stay up on the top part of the candle here. With that being said, again, I really don't I don't study candles as much as I used to. It is still a pretty strong sign here because again, you're still seeing the 21, the 34, the 55, and the 50 SMA, 144 and 200 just very nicely stacked across, very much lined up. So this trend, the path of least resistance is still trying to continue higher to the upside. Again, with some key targets that we're hitting a little bit of issues at is around 181 there, my friend. $25K on Robinhood to become an accredited investor. Really? You become an accredited investor, invest in startups for $25K? Really? How did they get around that? Okay, sorry, I'm scrolling back up. Thank you for the $2 again this week in American history. American Civil yeah. This week in Civil War history. I have to check out your channel, my friend. How do I do that? I don't want to report you. I love history, man. I love history. Let me make sure I put it in my tab here so I can watch it. Excuse me. Oh, okay. I'll put it in my tab there. Thank you, my friend. I saw a couple things. Let's see. I saw PLTR. That's what I wanted to talk about. PLTR, of course, with their demo day, I'm getting my days all mixed up. Everything seems insane. With that, yesterday, with today hitting a high of 45 again, we're pretty much familiar that this has been very much a stock that Wall Street Bets has also liked. Again, we insane movement in this one as well. With this again, very not like strategic here. With that being said, we've seen that the move here, the pop here, really move from basically 25, which we talked about it. We're talking about this on the live stream on Sunday of like, hey, if this really moves and it breaks above that previous high around 33.50, it can easily run to 40. And guess what happened? It broke that and it ran to 40, and then now it's kind of retreating. But look again, it still falls into that momentum side because again, what is it doing? It's holding between that 5 and 8 moving averages, trying to continuously carry us higher to potentially stay above that 33.50 and maybe try to break above 40. With that being said, if we do get a break and we get some more continuous volume and movement, that next target's $50. Like this one is something that I'm not saying a sure win in anything, but this is definitely looking for something that can easily hit $48, $50 if that momentum continues and we don't get an extremely large market pullback. I wanted to talk about this one as too. I saw some Rosen ML. Hey Ken, SBE has rebounded at the $36 level. I've warned but it might break out. Thoughts on your uptrend? Yes, I like SBE. This one came on my radar as well with the consolidation that you're talking about, my friend. This one is not as clean as BL and K charging, but this is definitely going to be plenty of room in the market for these charging stations because again, I believe, don't quote me, I think the Biden administration wants to make, is it 500,000 or 500,000 charging stations by 2024 or something like that. I can't remember the numbers. But with this EV really being very supercharging into the new age of infrastructures, these charging stations are going to be really much everywhere. Like even in the area that I live, you might see it at the Whole Foods and like a couple of the grocery stores and of course the outlets and things like that. But the chargings are going to be really much more further adopted due to the fact of once more people get those electric cars. With that being said, that the chart pattern is looking pretty decent as well. Really holding that 5 and 8, the 21 to 34 EMA here. We are also in a squeeze, which I like. If we get that volume zone oscillator above 0, and again, if we get physically more bulls coming into this market, we can easily see potentially test $45 again. Since it kind of came back down on Monday, which I think it kind of came on my radar because it nearly bounced off that 50 SMA here. We're definitely could see to the upside, potentially testing to that $45 level there. So it's something to be lookout for. This week in Civil War history, oh, the PTD rule. Yes. So, yeah, I don't want to flex here, but that the PTD rule doesn't apply to me anymore. I know it was very tough to grind to get past that. So the credit investor is basically you have to have a substantial amount of cash and prove to the government that you're a savvy investor. There's no test. You just have to prove on your income levels. It's not something that you can be like on a brokerage account. It's something that like I think you get it like You don't get a medal for it. You don't walk around with a badge saying I'm a accredited investor, which would be kind of cool. I should probably do that. Just have little pins of saying, "Hey, I'm part of the gang" or something like that. I should do that. I wonder if I sell merch and I donate it, we should do that. Know what financial advice though? Yes. Let's look at this. Okay, sorry guys, I am super slow today. My brain's working at like 10%. So I'm so sorry. I will try to go through most of these really here. If I'm missing anything, please help me highlight them, Chris. I do apologize. I see Chris and David in here. Thank you guys. Um, let's see. David S. You did say SOL, please. Yes. What is this? Holy moly guacamole. Yeah, it's a beautiful looking chart. Like David, you just pick beauties here. With that, again, bouncing pretty hard off that 21 EMA, basically at the 2150 level, and kind of retracing from that. Not sure what this company does. If again, the only thing, a little not concerning, but we're seeing that 5 and 8 starting to curl over here. So if those kind of curl over and continuous lower here, and the overall the candles continue to close, if they do close below the 21 EMA, we could see a pullback to potentially the $18 to $20 range in this stock. But as long as we're seeing it now, it still has some potential support around 21 EMA. That's the exponential moving average here on the daily chart. We did have a switch here in the parabolic SAR dots, which we've really haven't touched since basically the middle of December here. So this has pretty amazing run, so it could be in the deck of cards to kind of get a potential short pullback and maybe some consolidation. I'm not sure what this company does, but it looks like it has a sun in there, so it may be something with solar, but that is definitely a very pretty chart there. Chris is saying a shirt that says "Not financial advisor, accredited investor." That's pretty funny. That's a good idea. Chris is saying I saw CRSR. Yeah, okay, that I did see that too. Thank you for saying that. CRSR. CRSR. This is Corsair Gaming. Holy moly, that's a pretty large candle that just kind of came through there. Um, Very much. This thing came out. Yeah, this was a newer IPO last year. Came out of the gate super hot, kind of cooled down. The chart's just trading sideways here. Being very mindful, literally being in the gaming industry. With that being said, it is kind of just trading sideways here. Intraday, it was trying to break out, but it really hasn't really been able to get above that, basically that overhead resistance around $44, as you can see here on that 618 Fibonacci retracement. Again, we're kind of coming back, bouncing off that 37 to 35 level, being the support to the downside. It's basically just having a ping pong ball being bounced around in a very tight form here between that 42 to 44, but basically $44 to around 37, and just kind of been bouncing around with these waves here. Being very mindful that we do have earnings coming out the 9th of February, so be also super mindful of that. With some ongoing support here around that 37 to 35 levels to the downside. And what was the other one, Chris? You said GE. And everyone give a quick round of applause for Chris and David S. tonight. They're helping me moderate the chat, and I really do mean it. I try to get to every stock and try to go through everything, but there's a lot of folks in here. Again, I'm used to maybe dealing with 15, 20 people on the stream, but thank the Lord, we've had a lot more viewers come in, and it's just been kind of growing really fast here. GEVO. Very much like a momentum trade here. Again, you're still seeing that very aggressive 5 and 8 moving average here, continues to carry us higher. We are down nearly 8% today, but guess what? It's still holding above that 5 EMA. So this trend can continue here as long as it stays above that 1040-ish range, basically kind of coming into those 5 and 8 moving averages there. This week in Civil War, another $10. My God, thank you, my son. Exactly, $20 you can credit it, but then the Wall Street does not know if you're 18 old punks whose parents don't give you the money yet. There is no rhyme or reason behind it, 100%. And thank you for the $10 this week in Civil War. I really do appreciate that. I'm gonna mispronounce your name. ORIPOV Sardor for Kirkland. You know it. Let's get that sponsorship. If Kirkland sponsors me, they should print me some shirts or something. That'd be fantastic, and give it out. Have like one of those cannons on the. I guess that doesn't make sense because who am I shooting the cannon to on a live stream? It'd be cool if I can shoot out a cannon into the webcam and then it goes into the chat and then it randomly gives it to someone. That'd be kind of cool. I got all these weird, silly ideas. For Kirkland, let's look at Costco. Actually, I haven't. That's terrible. I own the stock in my long-term account, but this thing has been very choppy as well. Looking for again some support around 350-ish, even down to 348, and it's just gonna be fine. Again, this thing has been very much a special stock in my heart. Of course, I think everyone knows that I love my old Costco store as well. With that being said here, really seeing that just kind of sideways action, nothing to really report here. I wouldn't kind of call this like a head and shoulders here because this is the first shoulder. There's not really a defined head here. Just be very mindful if it does pull back. We're going to have some pretty strong support around 353 to around the 348. And if that really breaks, say hello to basically the 345 to 340 level. So be mindful of that. And thank you again for the $5, my friend. I really do appreciate it. Mr. Ross, how you doing, my friend? You're asking for HEXO. Yes. So this one, this had a 1 to 4 split, so that's a little bit different. That's basically like a reverse of it. With this being said, had a huge squeeze here. See that all the red stuff here building up around the TTM squeeze? Fired long here, broke through multiple Fibonacci levels here, never really got to that 840 range, but this is a great scenario where we could somewhat of a cup and handle here, where we could kind of get that move higher to 782, maybe build that base here, some sideways action around that 668 here, and trade sideways and maybe get that momentum to maybe test up to $8. But initially looking for some sideways action here, maybe let the 21 EMA kind of catch up, give us a boost to kind of get us to the next level. Have you seen Kirkland stock? What do you mean by Kirkland stock? You're talking about Kirkland KL, what's it called? The gold company? Is that KL is a gold company? Hustler Millennium, we have looked at Tesla. For Tesla, again, a lot of people are, I think, coming on board for Tesla. So currently kind of looking at around 820. In the short term, we're looking for some support, again, coming into around the 830 and to around the 810 range to kind of see it places to kind of hold. Because, again, be very mindful. Tesla has not touched the 21 EMA since the mid of November. So this has been just continuously riding up here with that move here. Again, we'll see if it could potentially get some of a pullback. The overall limit that we're looking at is trying to break above 900. It's going to be the next level higher there. GTFO says, hey, Ken, can we get a shout out for BBY? BBY? Build a bear. You always get me with this one. Always. I always like, what is BBY? Yeah, why didn't the folks go after this one? What's the short position on BBY? This must be insane. The short position on this. This is are you in this? This thing, like, look at this beautiful squeeze here. Like, wow. Oh, crazy amount of volume. What do I have? What's the weekly chart on this one? Oh, looks just nasty. Breaking from its previous high here. This thing could probably run some more here if it breaks above 7 to potentially 865. That's an interesting one there, honestly. That's very interesting. Tom Brady, well, congrats going to the Super Bowl again, my friend. You're looking for TRVG. Tom Brady plays soccer, right? Or foosball, right? He plays foosball. Yeah, TRVG. I don't know why you're messing with this one, Tom Brady. I think you're more like a Under Armour kind of guy. This is definitely an interesting one playing out again. This is very much just a FOMO play here. Look at the volume coming in today here, Mr. Tom. And just seeing the complete utter move here. It was probably close up to like 300% if we're looking at this chart, right? It closes up 50% today. Really looking at here, we're seeing really just break out basically an all-year time high here. With that being said, oh, I went the wrong way. Potentially looking for some levels again around 537 to around that $5 range. That's where we saw some previously overhead resistance before. I saw AMG. Yes, that was one that I bought way back on the dip. Like, we bought this one when it was like $7, and it's been a beautiful little move here. Again, I'm not a casino guy. I don't gamble at the casino. I'm not good at it. I just don't do it. I don't really go to many casinos anyways. With that being said, somewhat of a pullback today. I don't know for what reason. For whatever reasons, we're seeing some selling coming in. It has broken the 50-day SMA here in the daily chart, but it is pulling back to the 2850 range, which is a previous Fibonacci number. If we do kind of hold at this pattern, this could be a nice little hold here, but be mindful, we do have the earnings coming up as well. So as you saw, like, I don't like to say history repeats. History doesn't repeat, it rhymes. So we kind of saw the same pattern where a couple days before earnings, it kind of pulled back pretty drastically, and then it had a nice little fine quarter, and then it kind of just took off here. So we could potentially see that kind of trade sideways again. How did the overall other casino stocks do? How did Wynn do? Like, yeah, Wynn pulled back. What did Penn do? Probably went flying. Yeah, Penn pulled back a little bit, but look at Penn came in right to the 21 EMA there. So be very mindful of that. Kelly, you're exactly right. Tom Brady's got his own enough money to create his own short squeeze, right? It's so true. Yeah, Tom Brady, the basketball player. He's going to be the new Space Jam, right? Okay, sorry guys. You guys are moving super fast here. What's Casper's symbol, Paul? I always forget that one. I'm sorry, not cat. Is it cat? Is it CRSPR? Is that the symbol? CRSPR. That's the mattress, right? Let me know the symbol, Paul, and I can look it up. I don't know on the top of my head. Or is that CRISPR? I can't tell. I'm sorry, my eyes are really bad today. Coolest dad ever says the coolest mom wants to know what you think about XSPA. Sure. XSPA. Not sure what the company does, and she looks like she loves the penny stocks as well. We are kind of, as we were in a downtrend, as you can see here in the daily chart, but we are again coming up. Look at that volume coming in the past week or so. If this wants to break again, that 200 EMA is super important here on the daily chart. If we want to break, we need to stay above that 230 range. Even if we stay above $2, I think that we still have a fighting chance to really get above it. As you saw previously here before, we've had hit that 144 in the 200 EMA to the downside, but we really never got the staying power. Again, we did close above it technically, but I would like to see it close above this range for a couple days and really stay at that range. It looks like a lot of people are looking for Kelly. You're asking for CRSP. CRSP. Oh, this is the CRISPR one. Okay. Yeah, this thing pulled back quite a bit. This is one you were talking about, Paul. Was it Paul? Come look at this. It came back almost exactly to the 55. So the white line on the chart is the 55 EMA, or the exponential moving average, and then the red line is the 50-day SMA. The 50-day SMA is the generic one that most people have on their chart, so I just have it on mine just to kind of give me some kind of reference points. So it came down almost to that point. If we do get the 5 and 8 moving averages here on the daily chart crossing through the 21, even to the 34, we could maybe get some more pressure to around that 150 to 142 range. But as of right now, speaking, that 155 range is some short-term support. So if we kind of draw out a line where that 155 kind of comes in, it pulls back to these levels here. So we've seen that was overhead resistance. So overhead resistance turns into downward support if we are on the way down. So looking at that level there, the only thing that's a little bit concerning here, we did those that is a pretty aggressive move down. Is this something like ARK was selling or something? Like, this is weird, the one why really this genomics stock is just really just selling off here. Maybe it's just a great buying opportunity. Definitely interesting one to look at. I'm actually going to put an alert here just to kind of keep an eye on it. Let's see here. Oh, the Casper's a mattress. That's right, JT. I'm sorry. Let's see. Okay, let's just go through the short squeeze stocks because I'm seeing a lot of people asking about GameStop's. Oh my god, I almost misspelt it. Oh my gosh, I did it again. That's how tired I am. So GME here, of course, in after hours trading, we're looking for around 290 here. This being said, okay, can it go higher? Sure, why not, right? At this point, anything can happen. There is no gravity in this universe, speaking of GME. What we're looking at here, if this thing wants to come down to hold potentially the 230 range, which we talked about before, again, we're looking here in the hourly chart. So really have to look at this at a very well-defined scope here. It's going to be very difficult to look on a daily chart because it's literally off the pattern and off the charts, literally speaking. With this being said, on an hourly chart, really just breaking it down on the momentum side of that. And what I like to look at the hourly chart is the 8 EMA and the 34 EMA, which you're kind of seeing here. We do have some support coming in around that 230 level. So if that 230 range can hold here, which is kind of the 34 EMA, we'll see how the market opens up tomorrow. But that is some initial support to the downside. Of course, the break would be trying to break above the all-time high at 385, which we're seeing here. Literally, it came out super strong the first hour of trading, which is pretty common. Again, that 9:30 to 10:30 range is basically the most time it traded. But the only thing I want to really point out here is look at the volume here. The volume is substantially less here, so that doesn't mean that there's less people buying it. There still could be all these people that are in these positions here last 3 days could just be holding it, right? That's what the instructions from the fearless leader was to hold, to buy and hold, and let's squeeze out the funds. With that being said, we're seeing that pattern coming in here again. Really aggressive pattern or volume in the last couple days here. And of course, not really seeing that volume kind of coming in today. With again squeezing of those shorts, again the price jumped from literally 145 to opening up at like it was like a 3 something, and it just continued to skyrocketing from there. So that's basically how we would look at GME, and hopefully that was some helpful there. And then we want to look at AMC. Of course, this one as well is kind of falls into that 34 EMA as well. So it does have some initial support around 1111. That's a great number. If it does stay above 1111 or the 34 EMA on the hourly chart, same kind of pattern. We could potentially see this try to rip higher as well. Who knows, right? Let's look at this. I saw someone ask about Square. Was that you, Mark? So we look at Square. That thing was kind of nasty looking as well. This thing was like continue to sell off here. We had some initial support here around the 212 to 215 range. Really aggressively broke past that. If again, we've seen this pattern happen before as well, where it kind of has broken past the 50-day, but then it takes like 3 or 4 days to kind of get itself back into shape and kind of rebound here. This right here is very much like this right here, right? So we want to kind of compare the two things. It kind of had the aggressive move a couple days around the 21 EMA, and then boom, takes lower. A couple days around 21 EMA, and then just takes lower. So kind of looking at how this could look at. So if we look from the lowest point from the 21 EMA to the lowest point of the chart, which is about a 12% difference, we're going to be a little bit further away from that as of today. So we're looking at 10, basically almost 11. So we potentially can come down to around that one, what is that? 195 to 190 to potentially, if we stay above 195, potentially, we could see this kind of somewhat slow down in the bleeding. Again, that the 5 and 8 is aggressively costing through the 21 EMA to potentially see that movement lower there. So be mindful of that. NOK people talking about, and then Nick, yeah. NOK is one, yeah. NOK again. We have to go to the 21. Look at this. Like, look at this chart here on the hourly chart again. Look at just the hourly chart here, holding that 34 EMA multiple times. In after hours trading, boom, bounces right off that $5.50, aka that the 34 EMA here on the daily chart. So let me get this out of the way. The 34 EMA there on the hourly chart. So we do get a bounce there. This could be consolidating around that 550 to 575 and maybe get a rip higher to potentially test and try to break above that $7 range. I'm really looking for some targets to stay above 781 if you're going to be a bull on this one. And then NAKD as well. I'm pretty sure it's going to come down to the same kind of pattern here. This one is already in the sense of ripping higher here. Very much again, that very aggressive move higher here. This is somewhat in the earlier stages that we just talked about. If this is a true short squeeze here, looking to hold here around the 8 EMA, and then really looking for the trailing 34 EMA here to potentially see any kind of pullback and support level there, my friends. Solo Prime, yes, the market is 100% insane right now. Absolutely insane in the sense of just the crazy movements that we're seeing fly into the levels here. But this is something that I love. No, I'm not my favorite chart on these, but these it's very difficult to trade in these times without a doubt. That sometimes it's just best to kind of sit on your hands, focus on your longer term positions, and just kind of wait out the pain if you're not really want to deal with it. Okay, guys, thank you so much for coming out. This is fantastic. I'm gonna try my very best to try to go through these as much as possible. There's just so many people here. Dave says I made 1K this morning from 3-ish yesterday this AM on AMC, $8, 626. You made 1K, Dave. I don't think you're stupid at all. The moves that we're seeing are somewhat insane. So you were able to. So I'm going to steal this line from Jim Cramer. It's basically bulls make money, bears make money, but hogs or pigs get slaughtered. Meaning, don't be greedy. Have a plan. Set some targets up that you want to see to be met. If it's from technical, fundamental analysis, whatever it is, but just have some kind of plan. Just don't buy a stock and just hoping it goes up, and then just like, it feels okay to sell here. It's kind of always best to kind of have a plan around it. At least that helps for me. X Fleet, please. What's X Fleet, please? What is it? Is it XL something? XLP? XLP? What's X Fleet? No, that's the. Oh my god, that's wrong. What's X Fleet stock? GTFO is asking about Build a Bear. Never forget. Who hasn't read the DD on GME? Have I checked that naked after hours? We just looked at it. Yeah, it's up to $2.20. Yeah, so this again, very aggressive movement, holding that 8 EMA here on the hourly chart. I don't go too much lower than eight. It's holding the 8 EMA on the hourly chart. That's one of the smaller charts that I actually go to. Oh, it's just ticker symbol XL. Thank you guys. XL. This is one that's been. Oh, excuse me. With another large move higher. Some of these EV stocks again. This was a SPAC, right? Yeah, it was a SPAC. Huge run up. Now just kind of been trading sideways, meandering, kind of just going through life in a somewhat of a rut here. Holding this 21 EMA here. It's still holding between the 21 and 34 EMA, nothing aggressively selling. We are seeing a pretty steep fall here in the parabolic SAR dots, which is these little purple ones here. If we do get some kind of good news, this is looking interesting, to be quite honest with you. So I don't know too much fundamentally about the stock or the chart or the fundamentals or the company itself. But as long as it holds that 34 EMA around like that 1940 to 1950 range, it can come back down to around 18. I wouldn't like to see that, but it's somewhat in chop. It is the RSI and the volumes on offset are just kind of basically in hibernation mode as well. If we do get a pump higher in this one, we can easily see some momentum breakout here. So let me just do a quick fib here because I do kind of like this one. Is anyone trading this one? Yeah, it looks interesting. So again, that 50 from the previous, I didn't click to the one I wanted. Look at that. I almost told you some wrong numbers there. So looking at some issues trying to break above $22.25, but it has some pretty strong support at that 34 EMA and the 38.2 Fibonacci retracement at around 1924 to around 1942, which was a great year, I think. We won the war that year, right? We beat the Germans in 1942, right? We beat the Nazis 1942, and then we beat the Japanese in 1943 or 1944? I'm doing terrible. We need that Civil War history guy back in here to tell me if he knows that. Um, Again, I actually like this chart. As long as it stays above in the short term around 19, basically $19. I think this would maybe be a nice little risk to reward, honestly. If it stays above 19, if we can try to test above 22 to be even $25. Whoever wrote that, that's a good looking chart. Drew, we did naked. Naked's literally holding. I'm just gonna do it one more time. I'm gonna tell everyone to kind of go back to this timestamp. So naked, we're doing the chart at 1 hour 18, and let's do 1 hour 19. All right. So naked at 1 hour 19. If you're interested in this one, if they does move higher in after hours trading, we're looking for around 220 in the after hours trading. That is a break of the 200 EMA here on the daily chart. That being said, then if we break that $2-ish range, we are wanting to hold in around that range of the 8 EMA to potentially carry that trend higher here. So this is what we're going to be looking for to really kind of play us out. If you want to just to draw a little make-believe lines, you can do things like that to kind of potentially hold the trend. But again, this is all just going to be really tied to volume and continuously bulls moving up there. All right, let's see here. I saw someone talk about PDD. Did I see that? Or did I see that right? Maybe I didn't see it right. Ba-ba-da. Kirk says, like, I don't know how the stock work or why people in talking about this. I'm not sure what that meant. Nokia is the leader in 5G. I don't know. I don't know too much fundamentals about Nokia. I know a lot of people love it though. JD, JD is JD.com. Yeah, okay. This is a Chinese stock, right? A little choppy. That's a very aggressive down pull here today, around 7%, but it is falling back into the 21 to 34 EMA. Not the most fancy, good-looking chart here, but the trend is still, again, path of least resistance is still higher here. So as long as we stay above 87 to around $88, that trend is still trying to kick higher with JD. I saw a lot of people talk about plug. So PLUG, plug power. Yeah, this one, again, this thing has just been completely gangbusters. With these movements, two multiple large upgrades here, really hit that high around $75, which is again the level that we'll always try to achieve to. In the short term, it is still holding that 5 and 8 moving averages here. So the 5 and 8 moving averages, again, what we talk about are those momentum-driven moving averages to really see us carry us higher. If we start seeing it stall out here, we are seeing the RSI and volume zone oscillator kind of coming down here. So we could see if we do pull back and not hold around that $65 to $64 range, we can potentially pull back to around $60 to $57 would be the first initial downward support. Of course, the next really upward movement that we'll be looking for is around $75 to $78. There's going to be some of those all-time high targets that we could be looking at here. I saw someone say MMM, that's 3M. They just had earnings coming out, but yeah, that was fantastic move. This is really a strong move within the industrial stuff. Again, of course, 3M was leader of a lot of mask manufacturing, so be very mindful of that. With this one breaking out to basically highs, even pre the virus, around 182, and really trying to break up to 190. And after I was trading, pulling back just ever so slightly. But again, we're talking about 3M. We're not talking about a Tesla or something like that. We're talking about like an industrial company that just manufacturing sticky notes and other various things. Yes, they have a boatload of patents and they're always trying to invent new things, but it's not like they're trying to send people to space. With that being said, that is somewhat of a trend change here, and it is somewhat of a steady eddy here. So we do get a pullback. We're going to be looking for some support around 182 there to the downside. Space. Yeah, we can look at space. This thing, yeah, that was one of the shorts. I think we haven't done that one yet. With space here, this thing has been really strong here. With that, again, it broke out to an all-time high. Like I remember when space was hitting this $42 range, absolutely insane here. I was on a walk and I was like, oh my gosh, my space stock that I bought was actually the first SPAC that I ever bought in my life. Was trading at these levels here. With that being said, from the previous swing high to low here, we are breaking from all-time highs. We literally hit $60 as of today to that all-time high here. We do have some levels around that 63.15 to potentially be tested. Some downward, again, look at this movement here. It is holding that 5 and 8 moving averages on the daily chart. So where does that come into? The 8 and 34 on the hourly chart. Again, the hourly chart, the 1 hour chart. So looking at this level here, that 34 EMA is going to be a very key level. If it stays above $42 to $43 and that momentum continues to carry higher, the stock will continue to carry us higher. If we do get a switch, especially with the 8 EMA crosses through the 34 EMA on the hourly chart, we could get a pullback to break below 42 and potentially even come all the way back down to around $36 to $35. MO spiked to 45. Word, my calls. MO, yes. Why didn't not type in here? Strange jump to 45. I'm not seeing the jump though. I see like the 42, but looks like it has earnings coming out. This looks actually pretty good, Prime. This is interesting as well. Again, I like this play here actually. It's been very choppy here. It looks like the last earnings was a pretty large moves, kind of just little sporadic here. But looks like it hasn't really covered from its pre prices from the pandemic. We do have some targets to potentially try to jump up here to around 43.20, which has been some overhead resistance coming in here. That is something that we could be looking at here. But with that squeeze set in place and the RSI and the volumes on also are kind of trying to print higher here. So we do have a daily, 2-day, and a monthly squeeze. So let me look here on the monthly chart. This thing looks, oh baby. Ooh, baby. Again, yeah, very strong level. Again, looking on this is a monthly chart, so I don't know how long you're invested in this one. But look at that 21 EMA here on the monthly chart. It has not been able to get above that. So this is something that we're going to be trying to really get above that $43 to $44 range to potentially see this try to kick higher at those level. I can see a candle on 45. I'm sorry, let me look. Yeah, I'm looking here on an hourly chart, Prime, and I'm seeing here it up to 42.50. Yeah, I'm not seeing the 45. I'm sorry, my friend. Guys, this has been a fantastic stream. Thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate it. If you learned something today, just hit that like button. We're going to do a couple more, and then I'm going to have to head to bed. It is a Wednesday. It is a school night for me. I got to learn how to I've got to learn how to do my twos tomorrow. Tomorrow's I have to learn about twos and learn how to tie my shoes. Okay, CCIV. I saw. Yeah, we talked about this one again. CCIV is the Tesla luxury competitor, I believe, if I'm thinking of it right. Again, this one's also holding that 5 and 8 moving averages, looking for some support in the short term around 2050 to around 1981. Another strange year as well. With that being said, this again a very aggressive momentum stock. Again, like look at this. This thing was a SPAC. Once it got announced and all the people involved in it, it just took off like a rocket ship here. Okay, and it just continued to climb here, and just went really gangbusters here, as I like to say. But we're looking for this, if this momentum stops or slows down, we're going to really looking for some support around that parabolic SAR dot in the short term, but it can come all the way down back down to around the 21 EMA, wherever that could be lying there. Oh, excuse me. I saw PBD. PBD. I thought you said PDD. NASDAQ trusted clean energy. Okay. Yeah. So this thing has been a very strong play on Biden, or just the Democrats winning the Senate and so forth, or the Congress, and as well as the executive branch. This thing has held, look, ever since the low here of $9.07. This thing has been a beautiful little rocket ship here. Just continue to climb here. A pullback to the 21 EMA is completely normal here. Again, we're seeing that pullback to the 21 EMA. Hasn't pulled back to the 21 EMA since the beginning of November of last year. So somewhat normal here. We did have a little bit of sideways action, but now it's kind of coming here to some lower prices. It can even pull back to around $35 to $36, and that trend will be just fine, because we've seen that same kind of pattern here. So again, I'm not saying history repeats, it rhymes. So if we look at this pattern here, my friend, we saw that movement higher levels of RSI. Once it kind of slowed down a little bit, and then it came down to the 21 and 34 EMA. Same pattern here, highlighting this here for you. Click higher levels of RSI coming back down. Not crazy like steep selling here, because again we were trading sideways for a little bit, but it's coming back down to the 21 EMA, which is natural. If it just shot down extremely to the 34, even to the 50-day, then again it would be a little bit concerning, and we have to look at it at a different shed of light there. A lot of people are talking about BB as well. Like we talked about BB a couple times too as well. So again, these very heavy short positions are, of course, being covered a lot of bit. So with that being said, the best parameters that I can give anyone who's listening, if you're talking about anything about the short squeeze side, I'm looking here on the hourly chart, and I have the 8 and 34 EMA put up on the chart here. So long as it stays above that 34 EMA, that trend continuously could carry you higher. But once the music stops, the party stops, there's no more punch in the punch bowl, the cupcakes are all gone, and the pool water is all icky, whatever, I don't know. And there's people starting to get rowdy. That's basically your first sign that we could get a pullback pretty substantially here, with again these really aggressive moves that we have been seeing here recently. Polo, if you rewind to 1 hour and 19 minutes, I just did naked there. And I did a good explanation there, my friend. Yeah, Joe, good point. Tilray was a substantial move there as well. Like that thing has been absolutely. If people don't remember that one, that thing used to be $300. Like, let's go here to. Do I have the monthly chart still up? Yeah, it literally hit $300. Like this is what a complete short squeeze looks like. This took quite some time to get to that level. At first, it went up to around like $20, then it ran up to like 60, but then it just blew off here. I think at the time it had like 50 or 60 employees, and like each employee was worth like, I think it was like $65 million or something. Like, it was something insane. Of course, you can't put a price on it. Like, it just, when these kind of market moves happen, people try to look for, they try to grab for, oh, fundamentally speaking, it doesn't make sense. And then people are like, oh wait, blah blah blah, it has to, there's no gravity, that you're not playing in a real universe on a short squeeze like this, ladies and gentlemen. Hmm. Yeah, still getting a lot of AMC to the moon, to the moon. Well, again, I am not in any of these holdings for personally, so it's no dust on my shoulder, no chip on my shoulder for these positions. But like we're just talking about, looking at these plays, that 34 EMA on the hour chart is really going to be helping you carry it higher here. Um, I saw someone say about QS, whoever that was. Yeah, QS. What has that been doing today? Ugh, that is a ugh. I like this stock, I really do. But this movement, the 5 and 8 moving averages on the daily chart, is still somewhat trending down here. We do have some initial support around $41 to $40. Um, Looking like it still could be potentially trending to that level here, unless we get some consolidation here. Because again, that 5 and 8 moving averages, as you can see, is still somewhat pointed to the ground. They are slowing down. They're not like it was when it crossed through the 21 EMA, but it has crossed below the 50. So just something that's kind of been looking on the radar to potentially to kind of see maybe if it does kind of break out there. Prime, I don't understand why WSB doesn't throw his efforts towards companies that matter, that are short-handed. Why GME and YMC, they change the future. So Prime, the reason the prime candidates for those stocks was because the short float. Most so if a company, if you're shorting a company, normally people disagree with it. There's, again, that's what makes a market. There's a bulls and there's bear, and then there's whatever. GME is the bear's eyes are like, it's a failing retailer. It's not going to go anywhere. Everyone buys their games online now and download it directly to their PC or to their console now. So what's the point of GME? Then GME is like, hey, we're restructuring. We're going to be building these D&D centers, are more of a gaming culture, and then doing different various accessories, whatever the reasons are behind it. Technically speaking, on the stocks, is because of the short float was so high, the interest premiums on holding the short floats for GME was getting to a very spicy level, meaning a level that could just break and really open up the floodgates. Again, if we look at GME here on a somewhat of a normal time frame, before it really broke out here, before it really broke above 40, it was kind of like failing, because again, this stock has been shorted so much in its whole lifetime. Okay, again, this doesn't do it justice. So this thing has been trending lower since its all-time, basically since its high. It never broke its high, relatively speaking, before the dip here, around $63. It has kind of come back somewhat after the financial crisis, but even since then, it has still carried substantially lower here. Like, look at this. From basically October of 15, it has been continuously downtrending here on the monthly chart. So hedge funds, whoever, were just short the stock, selling calls, collecting premium off it, and just like, oh, this is an easy stock to poop on, and it's just an easy stock to potentially go to zero. It was very close to zero because it went up to $2.57. Really kind of came back, consolidated here at a very easy level here, and then the rest is history. It started moving its way higher. People on Wall Street Bets got into it, and then bada bing, bada bang, we have the largest short squeeze in recent history. The only other comparison we can give to GameStop is the Volkswagen deal, which we talked about a little bit on the previous video on Volkswagen back in 07, 06, 07, fell to like $99. It was very heavily shorted. But again, it also had a short squeeze. So the stock literally went from $99 to like $1,000 in the same time frame as GME. And it literally squeezed out all these large funds that were short Volkswagen because they couldn't cover in time. They thought it was just a fluke or whatever. They just, again, when you're short a stock or short calls, the overall price is infinite. Like you can run GME all the way to 1 million if you want. But that being said, there is no limit to that upside potential. So that number increases dramatically, and especially on margin, that number just goes gangbusters here. So you have to be super mindful of what the upside of the squeeze is on those things. Yeah. I saw Jim Cramer on Monday, and his friends were so pissed about GME, and they mentioned AMC, and they were so mad. Again, it's literally the old like time investor, the fundamentals up there, the way they think, and then the new investors. Like most people don't understand on how they think. I'm considered a millennial. I'm only 33, 32. I don't know how old I am, but I'm considered a millennial. That we don't know what they're doing with our money. We're not investing in Coca-Cola, AT&T, those boring, sorry, those boring ass companies. We're buying real companies. Like look at Tesla. Okay, Tesla really was on the back of us younger investors that believed in a great new technology like Prime and Chris have talked about. And we as the young, smarter investors, I believe, took full advantage of it, and we made a boatload of profit if you held and stuck with it, and can still making a lot of profits. It's still a new technology that it just took Wall Street forever. Again, this thing was shorted so much until it just wasn't. Again, looking here on the monthly chart of this, again, this stock was just trading sideways for years, okay, and just literally did next to nothing. Had a nice couple up moves here and there. Almost failed on their production of the Model 3. Came out of that really strong here. And then, of course, the rest is history after its move, and then it split, and then just like continuously run higher. So, enough said. I don't have to rant and rave about that, but yeah. Mm. Um, Roni, yeah, we talked about NOK at 1 hour and 19 minutes, if you want to rewind. We already did QS, my friend. QS is looking like it wants to hold around, potentially come back down to 40. Um, sorry, NOK. Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm getting NOK and Naked mixed up. So NOK, yes. This one couldn't run, maybe. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't have a crystal ball here. The formula we need to look at is the momentum side of things. If the momentum, the volume will continue to run it, we are looking for that support level at the 34 EMA on the hourly chart. So just watch this on the hourly chart. If it stays above that 34 EMA, the trend is still fairly strong, and it continuously could carry us higher from those levels. I saw ATOS. ATOS. Brr. Let me look at here. Yeah, this is a pharmaceutical stock. Again, again, I don't know if this was news, but this literally could have run like a FOMO moment here. We are seeing somewhat of that middle finger mentality. So you have this finger right here, and then you have the middle finger itself, and the next middle finger. If this doesn't stay above like 195 or $2, we could see a substantial pullback to around a buck 60 to a buck 50. Let's see here. Guru K, PLTR. Yeah, we did PLTR, but we do that again. So PLTR, what a move, right? Demo day, really rocketed higher, kind of like the NIO kind of stuff. My only fear with this one is, even though the demo day is over, I think people could be just kind of moving on with it, but because it's not that heavily shorted, actually. With that being said, $40 is really the level to try to break above and stay above. But if we start seeing it break below $33.50 to even $32, we could see some potential pullback to around 30. But really looking for that $40 level to break if you're a bull on it. Nicola, Ra, what's up, my friend? Nicola, yes. What a move, right? Never thought I'd be talking about this. Nicola seeing this up as this much. That being said, here, I'm not the world's most popular dude for trend lines, but like this is kind of coming in here. If you're looking from the peak here to peak here, it literally has broken out of this trend line here. Really, again, falls into that 200 EMA here around that 23-ish range. Has broken out here, has not really cleared a substantial level, aka really need to see it above 35 to really consider it somewhat of a breakout here from that previous low here. This is basically just making a higher low from the previous other higher lows that we've seen ever since like that $100 price target there. SNDL, yes, this one has definitely been moving here a lot again, especially with the Mary Jane stuff. Again, a penny stock, not really my favorite, but substantial levels to try to break out is above 75. We do have some support coming in around that 47 to 50 cent range to the downside. Someone says NAKD. If you rewind back to 1 hour and 19 minutes, I do NAKD there for you. Scott is asking for Kodak. Yeah, what talking about a nice little short interest stock here as well. This thing has run well, it previously had a short squeeze. It didn't have a short squeeze, it just kind of came out because it switched from a camera company all the way into a pharmaceutical company helping making stuff for drugs. Anyways, this one is somewhat kind of standard here. It is really just, again, from the previous move that we saw in December, it's kind of coming out and trying to test that $13 range that we saw previously. If we need to break above that, that's where we need to potentially see a breakout there. But if this wants to pull back, we're going to be looking for some initial support around $10 to the downside there. Chris, thank you so much for doing your awesome job on moderating. I will definitely have to give you some kind of like a Chipotle card. Yeah, I'm born. I just saw Alpaca. I just saw your pings. Yeah, I think I'm 33. Once you get past like 25, you just kind of lose the dates, right? Ba-do. Ryan, I don't remember when I discussed AMC, but I'll discuss it right now. Oops. Yeah, AMC, what we're looking for this one, again, with any of these momentum stocks, especially what a lot of people are asking about, is we're looking for it to hold on the hourly chart, holding that 34 EMA. So you can put any kind of momentum stock at that. We wanted to hold a 34 EMA on the hourly chart. Oh, there's no timestamp for the stream? Oh, shit. I'm sorry. Now I feel stupid. CBAT, let's go through some of these really fast. CBAT, interesting. Very choppy here. A lot of overhead resistance around $9 to $8.50. Looking for some initial support around $7 if it does bounce off that 21 EMA here. A little choppy here. Nothing really to report there, but again, looks like it had a pretty substantial move on earnings, looks like, but it kind of gave somewhat a back, and now kind of the overall trend is trying to push higher because you're seeing the 34 and the 24, the 30, sorry, 34 and the 21 EMA slowly trend higher, so that the move is still trying to move higher. Let's see here. I saw, let's see here. Oh my gosh, the chat is going so. I saw Helium. Which one was that? HYLN. Of course, this one as well, kind of getting some love here due to the fact of, guess what? EVs back in play, Biden administration, blah, 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 blah. This one very much beat down. We do have a squeeze here. If this can fire along, we're going to be looking for some targets around 21 to 2250. If that can really break to that level. This is trying to break from this really strong pattern here. This actually looks kind of interesting. This would be, I wouldn't say the risk to reward would be somewhat simple on this one. Basically, if you just trade the stock, if it stays above like that $17 range, it has potentially the chance to try to break to 22. But if it starts breaking below that $17 price target, $17 support, we could see it again break down to 15 and below there. I'm seeing a lot of CLOV, and I saw FUBO. Yeah, Clover Health. Again, this is another Chamath Papateel. This is IPOC, if I remember right. Very large move higher. Got acquired, sold off pretty hard. Now it's holding off that 34 EMA. We got a one-day squeeze, which doesn't mean any signaling on that here, but we are looking for some initial support around 14 to around 1375 for that to kind of hold here. But if this can kind of make somewhat of a cup and handle here, we're going to be looking for a breakout above 1650 and above there. And then I saw FUBO. Again, this one as well. We talked about this one on the Sunday live stream. Really strong stock, came out strong, gave a lot back, held that 50 SMA, which is that red line here. I know there's a lot of, let me get all these lines out of the way. Really held that 50 SMA here, pretty strong here. Been bouncing around here a little bit, looking to potentially make a cup here and maybe break out. But we did hit some resistance around that $45 to $46 level. That being said, that momentum is still carrying higher. We are still well above the 5 and 8 moving averages. We're not even on the high level of the RSI. So FUBO, if the volume can continue and the buying can hold higher here and not any sellers coming in, this easily could test that $55 to $60 range with this momentum behind its sales. NNDM. Yes, this one is definitely on a lot of folks' radars. Very large move higher. We've hit that level of RSI around 1678. Never really got above, never closed above it. Key point here. Now we're coming back down to the first level of support, basically falling in around that 1450 to around 1385 range. If we can stay above that, maybe trade sideways for a little bit, we could see that 21 EMA kind of come up here for support. If we really want to sell and everyone just kind of runs to the sell door or hit the automatic market sell button and just panic sells, we can easily see this down in a very fast minute to around $12 to $11.39. Alan, thank you for another $5. I also think we are seeing nostalgia put to good use because people aren't selling and you're a boomer, Ken. Who are you kidding? Oh, thank you, Alan. I love you. Thank you. Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's funny. Oh, Alan. All right, this is. I'm sorry, I'm still laughing at Alan's comment. I'm a boomer. If Ryan was on here, would call me a boomer too. Um, GGG investor, what's up, my friend? NOK fundamentals. I think it could. Like, I don't know too much about the fundamental side of the business, but anything can happen in this world. I'm not gonna say anything besides that. Looks a lot of the same tickers are coming like again, folks. AMC, BB, BlackBerry, Nokia, uh, AMC. Put this chart on an hourly chart time frame and just track it using the 8 and 34 EMA, and that will basically be somewhat of a pathway there, my friends. Kyle's asking, how do you feel about things going on in the charts? Let me just, when I talk, I want to show you my full screen. How do I feel about things going on in the stocks right now? I feel a little bit worrisome. I think that there is a trend change or like a fundamental change in how people view and potentially rate stocks, because I'm catching myself like, should I buy this? Like, I don't look at PE ratios and things like that, but I'm a little sus on in the short term to see on how all these short squeezes play out. I've played them just a little tiny bit on a day trading basis, but I'm nothing. I don't have the cojones to hold overnight. Mm-hmm. All moon rockets think Chris. Yeah, BB. Yeah, fundamentals doesn't exist anymore. Apple forever. In the short term, it really doesn't. Especially on a short squeeze, all it matters is what's the short interest and what's the premium for to kind of hold, and how much capital does the hedge fund or the large trader need to continuously hold that particular stock short. Yes, JT, that is I call him Kevin. That's my snake plant in the back. I need to get more plants. It's just cold as heck over here in Virginia right now, and it's not the best season to have plants. Even indoor plants, they're not that great. Are you invading? SNDL has support around 50 cents, but I won't touch it. People are saying NOK to 25 to 30. Let's see it. I would love to see that. What's up, Alpaca? TRIT. What is this one? It's like a Chinese stock. I think we talked. Did we talk about this one before, Alpaca? People are just saying stocks only go up. God bless you guys. This being said, let's hit an all-time low here. Okay, I have to update my fibs here. Not really it's going to matter much of a difference here because this is really outside the move here. If this can kind of hold this pattern here, Alpaca, I don't like this too much. I want to maybe see this a little bit more sideways action around the 830-ish level here. A lot of these candles are very long wicks on here, so we could maybe, it's not really seeing that kind of come through, and the 21 EMA is pretty far away. It's not my favorite setup to kind of bottom fish. No offense to anyone who likes to bottom fish. Again, it looks like previously it had a very strong recovery, but then it kind of gave it right back here. So this is something of what I do. So if you have Thinkorswim and you go into the ticker and you just literally hit minus the ticker it flips the chart in reverse, and it basically says like, would you buy this long? And I would say possibly yes. But so that kind of just puts in things in perspective if you're going to try to be long it. That being said, it is again looking for in the short term around 830 to 827 for some support, with some first levels to try to break out as 9 and then to around basically $10 there. Riley says, can you please take a look at BLSP? Wow. Okay, I don't know, Riley. I'm not going to be able to much to add here. This is just insane. Um, Technically speaking, on the chart here, really just looking for 5 and 8 moving averages to continue. If it does pull back, we're going to be looking for some support around literally 0.01. Okay, not much that I can add there. Yeah, GGG investor, I'm seeing a lot of people saying 15, 25, 30 for Nokia. I don't know how they can come up with that. It's really just going to be come up to the supply and demand of the stock. Oh, my bad. Okay, you can't see the chart. Thank you, Chris. Love you. Okay, I messed that all up. I'm silly. That's how tired I am. Chris, what would I do without you? Uh, I need to have another screen. I need to buy another screen. Um, Handle, what's up, my friend? I haven't seen you forever. How you been, my friend? Is tomorrow's market going to be good in the green zone? I don't know. Right now, the futures are a little bit down here, so being mindful of the S&P 500, like we talked about, it is hitting the 50 SMA here on the charts here. If this doesn't hold, we're looking for some support there. So best looking at like the SPY here, looking for again some support here around $371. If that doesn't hold, we could be coming down to basically some pretty not extreme levels, but being mindful. The Thursday and Friday are this is the 2 last days of the month of January, so we have to be very mindful of that on how the market could handle those levels there. Alan, I know I put it away. Thank you for the $2. This Prime, the market is a casino now, I guess. The market's always somewhat of a casino, but you just have to know how to play the odds, right? Interesting, without a doubt. Alan, I will take that boomer because of that, and it's because of lack of sleep. With that being said, S&P 500, depending on what we're looking at tomorrow, looks like at the 351 range to potentially hold. The only thing is the Nasdaq, of course, with Tesla, Apple, Facebook kind of pulling back with their earnings. We can easily see this back to around the breaking below 13,000, which is definitely somewhat of a warning sign. In that being said, yeah, Alan is very funny. We talked about BB again. All these momentum stocks, ladies and gentlemen, please, what you do, so that's /BB. Go to BB, the chart, okay? Put up an hourly chart, okay? Then put the 8 and 34 on the chart, and then you'll see on how it could play out. You want it to stay above the 34 EMA for that momentum to continuously move you higher there. Prime, I don't think it's a casino. I think, what's the word I should be using? I think I agree, Prime. It's not a casino because I don't like when people say, "What do you do?" I say I trade in the stock market. They say, "Oh, it's gambling." I'm like, no, 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 no. It's not gambling. I don't gamble on situations that I don't have a true understanding or a risk to reward to it. I think more or less, I think people do. The average person views the stock market as a casino, though. Prime. Would you agree with that? Because they just don't understand because they think the large hedge funds on Wall Street, not Wall Street bets, but Wall Street literally in New York run the market, and they're like, I lose every single time I buy a stock. What's the point of me buying it, right? Yeah, everyone again, like if people say, oh, like I tell my parent, hey, mom, dad, I made $10,000 in the market today. They're like, oh, you gambled it? I'm like, no, I didn't. I sold SPY. I sold SPX calls or puts. Handle's asking, what do you think about getting calls on all the optional stocks with a huge short interest right now? I think that's worthy of play. It's gonna take a lot of capital, depending if you just do one call a bit. But I think it could happen. Like I think I don't know when the short squeeze is going to be over, but if we're looking at the short squeeze side, again, we're looking for that 34 EMA on the hourly chart to be able to look at that. Apple Forever saying Tesla to 500 in March. Interesting. Okay. I saw someone bring up Big C. Was that UGG investor? Is that finally? Oh, nice call, my friend. That is beautiful. Look at that move. Looking for this to try to break above 100 and stay above 100 to really try to break out from this previous little mount here to really kind of get that momentum driven there. Um, BNGO is hurting my feelings. Did I read that right? Okay, chat's moving really fast. Yeah, BNGO. I think a lot of people just kind of got moved on to the next shiny light, even though there is some stuff behind this one. With this being said, it did pull back pretty substantially, 10% today, like we talked about. But it pulled back to around $9.87. As long as it stays and closes above that on the close on the daily side, that upward trend is still consistent here. We are hitting some levels of top level RSI, but that could last forever. But that again, if we do get a pretty strong sell in here, we're going to be looking for some support around the parabolic SAR dot around 750 to around 725 on that one. KOSS, yeah, that was another one that just went completely gangbusters here. But guess what? Like, look at this one. Look, put it to the hourly chart, put the 8 and 34 on it, and like you can just see it play out very well. It can come back down to around $28 to $27, depending on where the market opens up tomorrow for this one, for that level of support to the downside there. FRSX. Yeah, this one looks interesting. Was this a SPAC? No, it wasn't a SPAC. It was a penny stock. Yeah, this is wow. Okay, huge move higher, trade sideways. Huge move higher, maybe trade sideways. The momentum is still fairly strong here. We are again holding at 5 and 8 moving averages. A pullback would be in fine, long as it stays above in the short term, around above $8.67. It can pull back to $8.03, but that would be a little bit stronger support. But stronger support on a very large pullback would be around the 21 EMA, around 689. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go do the overall market view on QQQ and SPY, and then I'm going to call it a night. I do truly apologize. I'm getting really tired. I cannot see the chat anymore. My eyes are hurting. Been staring at the screen all day. That's not a complaint. That's a blessing. I enjoy what I do. With QQQ, we have came down to that 21 EMA with those parabolic SER dots. This is the Nasdaq. Okay, it's always good to kind of keep a sense of what's going on in the market. With the futures, we're currently seeing it down nearly 64, nearly what is that? 84 points, around 0.64%. That potentially could put us to around 315. As long as we stay above that 313 to 315 coming in tomorrow or the end of the week, that could be somewhat of okay for some potential consolidation or some little bit of a sell-off in that sense, or a correction, not really a sell-off, more of a correction at those levels. And as well, we're looking at SPY, same as well. This thing has already moved through the 21 EMA, but potentially looking for some support around 370 to even the 368. If that doesn't hold, we're going to be saying Hello Kitties basically around 367 to 365 to the downside there. I know it seems pretty insane, but those markets can move really fast. And then, of course, the Russell, which we can look at IWM as well, has also come down to the 21 EMA on the daily side. If it does hold here, that would be just fine. Again, this thing has touched the 21 EMA. This thing has been a rocket ship since the mid of November of last year. Looking for this doesn't hold around 206, could easily come back down to 200 in that sense being there. Guys, thank you so much, David, Chris, for moderating. I really do appreciate it. I really thank everyone for coming out. If you learned something, please don't forget to like and subscribe before you head out the door. If you want to see more live streams, please let me know in the comment section. Message me on Discord or whatever. If you really enjoy these live streams and the format and so forth, I really do appreciate it, everyone, again. If I didn't get to your question, please join the Discord and ask the question there, and I'll try to get to it as soon as possible. But for the time's sakes, streaming tomorrow during market hours and boost your views. People's streams have been blowing up. That's true. Who knows? Maybe I can stream towards the tail end of the day, maybe the 3 to 4 hour time frame. But that being said, guys, thank you so much again. Gals, thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening and the rest of your day, depending on what time frame you're looking at. And great and healthy trading for you, everyone out there. Please be careful, and I'll see you in the next video or the next live stream. Peace.